What comes to your mind when you hear the word superpower? Do you think of superhumans with extraordinary capabilities, such as flying, or becoming invisible? What if someone told you that we humans have the ability to have superpowers too? Hello everyone, and welcome to another brand new episode on my channel, Wonder Boho Book Club. Today I'll be talking about the book, Superthinking, the Big Book of Mental Models, written by Gabriel Weinberg and Lauren McCann. Lauren McCann is a researcher and statistician, with extensive work experience in the pharmaceutical industry. Gabriel Weinberg is the CEO and founder of DuckDuckGo, the internet privacy company that empowers users to take control of their personal information online, without any trade-offs. In Superthinking, Gabriel and Lauren have addressed a very vital, yet often overlooked issue: how to maximize your mental abilities. They have presented a combination of mental models extracted from various disciplines, which, if applied properly, can help us broaden our perspectives significantly. This book shows us how, by learning from examples set by some of the world's best and brightest minds, we too can reap the benefits of optimizing our potential. It also shows why both academic and practical knowledge are important to succeed in life. Part 1: Super Mental Models. In the course of a normal day, we are faced with millions of choices, but we seldom ever take the time to reflect on the processes that were involved in bringing about the outcomes we've experienced. In the end, it comes down to the question of what matters most to the person concerned. Let's take the example of our commute to work. Usually, we know the approximate time it'll take for us to reach work from our home, given we take the same route every day. We get up, take shower, eat breakfast, dress ourselves, and then leave for work, all the while keeping in mind the commute time. Now, if we make an impulsive stop at Starbucks or McDonald's on the way to work, to grab a bite, or a quick drink, it's probable that we'll be late for work. So, what should we do? Should we just drive on, and forget about our sudden craving? Or should we take the chance, risking being late, and probably making the manager not so happy? Instead of going through the tedious thought process and detailed analysis, our mind conjures up images of what might happen in each situation. On one hand, we see ourselves slurping the delicious iced coffee, or devouring the cheesy burger. On the other, we see ourselves being reprimanded by our manager, and probably being marked down in our performance evaluation. Ultimately, it boils down to which image we prefer, and we act accordingly. However, irrespective of forming mental images of probable consequences, and acting accordingly, there's always a chance of miscalculation, that is, the final result is something different than what we expected. In the given example, we might initially assume that getting a burger or a drink from McDonald's might not take more than a few minutes. And we'll reach office only 5 minutes late, which is acceptable. However, what we didn't foresee was the immense traffic, and getting stuck in the long queue of cars to get our order. As a result, we reach office more than half an hour late. This presents us with a new situation. Do we go to work anyway, risking the ire of the boss, or do we go back home and call in sick? Although this might seem like a not-so-significant matter, if considered as a standalone event, it might lead to bigger problems if seen on a larger scale. For example, it is easy to believe that having a fleeting romance with a coworker would not have a substantial impact on your marriage, just as it is simple to believe that stopping for a quick bite will not have a large impact on your office hours. However, in both cases, there are chances of miscalculation, which might have a big impact on your performance and productivity, and ultimately on your career. So, the question is, how to make the right decision? This is where superthinking comes into play. The authors say that we often tend to forget that the human brain is by far the most advanced and sophisticated computer that ever existed. In order to make more accurate decisions, we need to replace our existing mental models by supermodels, which are superior in terms of their ability to solve problems and their overall effectiveness, thereby minimizing the chances of errors. Part 2. Turn it inside out. Mathematicians are highly trained in the art of finding answers to difficult questions. On the other hand, there is a prevalent misunderstanding that the answers that mathematics gives have no influence on the actual world. However, in reality, it's the exact opposite. Here, the authors cite the example of the German mathematician Carl Jacobi, who came up with the approach to solving problems that he named, invert the problem. Invert the problem simply means that you turn the situation inside out, or upside down. In other words, you should address the challenge that you are experiencing by flipping it on its head. By shifting the perspective through which you see the issue at hand, you'll be able to discover a solution that is more in line with reality. Let's take the example of making the right decision in a given situation, or choosing the best course of action from the possible alternatives. Usually, we define the objective as finding the right solution, but what if we turn the objective into avoid choosing the wrong solution? By applying this line of judgment, we'd be paying attention to not committing the mistake of opting for the solution that comes to mind immediately, or the one that is easiest to understand. Therefore, we'd be more logical in sifting through the possible solutions, and, as a result, will reduce our chances of committing errors, thereby arriving at the best solution faster. The situation at McDonald's, which was discussed earlier, serves as an useful example of something that might have been prevented. You did not anticipate there to be such a lengthy queue when you arrived, but that is exactly what was waiting for you there when you did so. You should have realized that irrespective of how strong your craving for that burger might have been, being late at work is still an error in judgment that you will come to feel bad about in the future. When you place yourself in a situation in which you are unable to forecast the possible threats, you are exposing yourself to bigger risks. If you do not want to act in an irrational manner, you will need to make the necessary preparations in advance. Either leave earlier than normal, in order to have time to grab a bite, or don't bother about eating at all, and just get on with the rest of your day. So, we see that turning the issue on its head might result in the identification of more insightful solutions, which are beneficial for us in the long run. Part 3. Keep it simple. Many people have the tendency to overwork themselves, thinking of various possible reasons for an event occurring, especially when that event confuses them or is not what they were expecting. For example, you wrote to one of your friends on Facebook Messenger, and you're awaiting her reply. You can see that she's seen your message, however, she doesn't reply back, although you can see she's still online and has been posting things on her page. This leads you to feel a little anxious, as you try to figure out why exactly she isn't replying to you. Maybe she's upset with you about something, but what? Or is she ignoring you on purpose? The anxiety gradually builds up, until you're no longer able to contain it, and you call your friend and ask her why she didn't reply to your message. Her answer might be something entirely different than what you were expecting. In fact, it might be so simple an explanation that you didn't consider it at all. Maybe your friend saw your message while she was in the middle of posting something, and thought of replying a few minutes later, but forgot it somehow. More often than not, this fruitless speculation makes us feel stressed and agitated. But, as seen in the example here, often the answer is really simple, yet we fail to see the simplicity of the situation and build up imaginary complexities. The authors suggest applying Occam's razor model and Hanlon's razor model to such situations. Occam's razor model states that the the simplest explanation is most likely to be true. While Hanlon's razor model states that we shouldn't attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by carelessness. In the given example, you were inclined to think that your friend is ignoring you, or being mean to you, when in reality it wasn't so at all. If we applied these principles to other aspects of our lives, in addition to maintaining an objective perspective, the authors believe that we could reduce a lot of stress. Let's consider the dating scenario. It has never been an easy process to find a relationship that would last the test of time, but the demands that come with living in today's world create even more difficulties. If that wasn't bad enough, we are now inundated with a mind-boggling number of options to choose from. A lot of dating apps nowadays cater to very specific or niche categories. For example, there are dating apps for homosexual people, cat or dog lovers, religious people, tattooed people, etc. The choices are simply infinite. As a result, some might think that they should be as picky as possible when it comes to choosing their partners, but in reality, they limit the people who may potentially become their romantic partners to those who have superficial similarities with them, such as the kind of music they like, the color of their eyes, etc. Although you might believe that the person who is made for you is someone who shares your interests, hobbies, and pastimes, it is not impossible for your true love to be someone from a completely different background, and with different proclivities. That person might be a foreigner, having a different taste in music or movies than yours, yet he or she makes you feel alive when you're with them. Hence, we should try and apply the principle of keep it simple, wherever possible. Part 4. Spending time wisely and dealing with conflicts. The authors further suggest that we should concentrate our time and energy on one important activity at a time, rather than multitasking. Also, we should use the Pareto principle to find the 80-20 in any activity, that is, we should figure out a way by which we can gain maximum results with minimum effort, thereby achieving maximum efficiency. While dealing with conflict situations, the authors suggest that we adopt a game theory perspective. Game theory is the study of mathematical models of strategic interactions among rational agents. In the 21st century, game theory applies to a wide range of behavioral relations. It is now an umbrella term for the science of logical decision-making in humans, animals, as well as computers. Also, we should consider the various ways by which we can persuade others to join our cause in a conflict situation. For example, we can consider applying the various influence models like commitment, liking, social proof, scarcity, and authority. Also, we should keep an eye out for the strategies being used to manipulate us for someone else's benefit. We should avoid direct conflicts, as this may have unprecedented consequences. Instead, we should use tactics like deterrence or containment if need be. As we can see from the examples cited, having knowledge of both scientific principles and their practical application is of paramount importance in one's life. If you are unable to put what you have learned into practice, it does not matter how much knowledge you gather. It is a waste of time. Superthinking helps us to convert theoretical knowledge into practical day-to-day applications, thereby making our lives more productive and hassle-free. Part 5. Conclusion. Life is full of complications, and sometimes we make it even more complicated by applying poor decision-making skills and hypothesizing unnecessarily complicated situations. However, applying supermental models can help us improve our decision-making capabilities by shifting our perspectives to a more objective one. This ultimately results in higher problem-solving skills and reduced stress, and a more creative, productive, and joyful life. Thank you for watching this episode. Please don't forget to subscribe. See you soon in our next episode.